Hello everyone, it is Jacob here with the last update to my Carino 2 for this season at least. I will probably play it in the next season as well, because every time I play Carino it is just a blast and fun to play for me. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I will go over the skills, over the character, over equipment, over everything, and at the end of the video I will give you a map clear showcase and maybe a few tips as well for your characters, guys. So yeah, let's go for the skills first, because that's what builds the character pretty much. So ice lenses, same as the previous videos. Ice lenses, medium, written 0.2 seconds. This is the top one. This character is around 15 trillion or maybe 20 trillion DPS. I don't really care. So 0.2 as the top one you can get, with like high roll on the supported skills, additional damage for every 1 meter of movement, and high roll on the lower one as well. You want to get the top one like above 10%, so you can get the boost easily. So that's for this one. Greater multiple projectiles, rebound with bounce, and jump. So in total I have like one jump on ice lenses, 3 on the jump, that's 4. Then I have 2 from hero traits and another 4 from slates. So that's in total that's 10, and like multiple projectiles here as well. So 10 jumps and then stuck in projectiles. Movement skill, blink. If you watched the previous video, the Supreme Showdown 20 kill, I was using Speed Phantom. And the reason for the Speed Phantom is like I tried it with rigid transmission, because you can control where you land with rigid transmission, but at times it felt like I don't have enough movement during the fight. So I swapped to Speed Phantom. With Blink, I tried it with Blink as well, but Blink has too long range for the small arena, so Speed Phantom is something in between those. It also gives you a little bit of a damage boost. So Speed Phantom for the boss encounter, you could have seen that. Shackles of Malice, that's like sort of support skill for us. It is a damaging skill, but for this build it is a support skill. And the main reason we are using it is it's special support gem here, which increases the curse effect by 37% in my case. Paired it with the instruction with like 0.5 seconds cooldown. Like the lower cooldown you get here, the higher uptime you will get while mapping. But on bossing, like, doesn't really matter. It lasts for the debuff lasts for 4 seconds, so any like automation skill which is slower than 4 seconds works on this slot basically. So yeah, I have this. Pairing it with Reaping Agony, because I have the energy and that's another source of reap, so why don't use it? If you feel like you don't need the Reaping Agony, you can pair it with something else like Blinding, let's say, which would give you like another like source of pseudo defense. Monsters have lower chance to hit you, so that's a possible link there. Or another possible link would be Overload, which gives the monsters a debuff of 2% additional movement speed, attack speed, and cast speed per focus blessing, and you have 4 focus blessings, so that would be like 8% slow debuff on them basically. I was using that for quite some time as well. So yeah, that's another possible link instead of Reaping Agony. Or if you have enough energy, then you would be willing to put that 4th link here. That's a possibility there. Another support skill, Thunder Spike, linked with Rhythm. You cannot use Thunder Spike with your weapons, but when you link it with a trigger activation medium, it just gets triggered no matter what weapon you use. So you want a trigger with at least 0.5 second cooldown. I have 0.3. The lower the cooldown, the easier it is to keep the 10 stacks of numb on the target. So the main source of nump is this skill for the build. So pairing it with Thunder Spike nump, which gives you like 50% chance to inflict additional stack of nump on the target, and the maximum stack of numps is 10. And I'm scaling nump effect, so this is my main source of like additional damage basically. Hardened is a defensive flare which reduces the damage you take by 25%. This buff is always up because this skill is always hitting. And Hound, just to give it +2 shadows, so they proc this more often. And the last support skill for damage, it would be Black Hole. For single target damage it would be Black Hole, because that gives you the highest amount of additional dot damage. And you pair it with Well-Fought Battle, cooldown reduction if you use medium start. If you use other activation medium, and you would be able to keep it up on the maximum stacks, and mass effect, and like, I don't know, 6 seconds cooldown medium, let's say. Yeah, you would have to balance that out. If you don't want to go through the struggle, just go with activation medium start, and pair it with Well-Fought Battle. Don't care about the mass effect much. You can move this to some other slot. But even with only one stack or one charge, it is still 24% skill effect. So it is around 1% additional damage from this anyway. So yeah, that's the last skill here. Other possible choices would be, if you want to go faster, then Bloody Steps. Same setup, you just slot Bloody Steps in, and as you keep moving, it gets triggered and you move faster, so that would give you movement speed. And for mapping, just simply for the clear speed, you can use Star Stalker. You have sorts of extra projectiles from your character, from your hero traits, so you shoot like 3, I believe, stars at once, and they attach to elites. They last for 4 seconds, and when you kill the elite, the star just flies away to another elite and stays up for 4 seconds. So this is great for clear. Black Hole is great for single target. For the passive skills, auras, precise projectiles. If you have the money, if you have the FEs, just invest into better supports. You can go with like Stand as 1, which does not increase the mana cost. So you could use Stand as 1 here. I'm using 4 auras, so Stand as 1 would give you a base like 16% aura effect, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 20, depending on how much like plus skills you have. So yeah, Stand as 1 instead of increased area, that would be the case for all the auras. The next aura is Deep Pain. Again, Stand as 1 if you have the money. Third aura for damage, Precise Erosion Enhancement. And here you would put the Stand as 1 here, and you would get rid of the 5th link on this. If you would get rid of the mass effect here and put it here. And the last aura would be a Precise Elemental Resistance. That helps me cap my resistances. With my gear setup, it gives me around 18 or 19% elemental res. And the aura effect also scales the additional elemental damage taken. So great defensive aura right there. Yeah, for the Supreme Showdown boss, instead of erosion enhancement, like I had so much damage that I didn't need more, and I needed more survivability to make the fight a little bit easier for me, so I was swapping to Energy Shield aura, basically Precise Energy Fortress. Puts me to around 13k Energy Shield, so I was using that for the boss fight. For general mapping, when you are not like, when you don't need the defense that much, just to resize erosion enhancement for more damage. For candles, you want the blessing stacks on one of them and numb effect as well. With my approach to the build would be numb effect, chance to gain 1 stack of blessing, and either movement speed or elemental resistance. And on the other one I'm running +1 curse. That allows me to swap one passive on my talent tree, basically. And that's it. Elemental resistance and anything useful, like movement speed or additional damage taken, is great as well. That's for that. For passives, Goddess of Deception for single target, Windwalk for map clear, Plague. And the tree looks like this. That's the damage tree. If you go for a clear and you use exploding gloves, you can swap a few points around and put more into skill area, but it is not really needed. You have so much damage that everything pops instantly anyway. A little bit of investment to critical strike rating, critical strike damage here. Helps you with critical strikes. You deal whenever you deal critical strike, the element from the critical strikes lasts double the duration. So with my build I have around 10% critical strike chance on ice lenses, and critical strike damage gets scaled into damage over time, additional damage over time throughout the gear options. In here, subtle impact. If you need more defense, poison relief is a great defensive layer. Second tree, psychic. Here I'm running daze. You can run affliction as well, just choose whichever one suits you better. I like the 40% crowd control effect on this one. It makes bosses pretty much like non-issue. Any boss just cannot move with this up because you have slow. You have, if you use the overpower or whatever support skill it is, it scales this through this as well. So yeah, bosses are simply not doing anything. And the tree looks like this. And if you would want to swap like any points here, you can just get rid of this damage to cursed enemies and put it elsewhere, like let's say into Warlock, into speed here. But yeah, the psychic tree looks like this. And here I'm running more with less, additional dot damage. If I did not have the +1 curse on my, what is it called, on my candles, I would run verbal abuse here instead. So the +1 curse on the candles lets me run more with less instead. The last tree is Warlock, which is the general plus skills tree, Indifference, and Off the Beaten Track. That Off the Beaten Track is the passive that allows you to run all the auras. And the tree looks like this. If you would like to go faster, you can move like 5 points here into the movement speed from Blur. And that's pretty much it. Here you can get a little bit more damage as well. But yeah, damage comes as a sacrifice to defense. And when the build has enough damage, just scale defense. That will make your mapping easier. For the Statue of the God, Pedigree of Gods, I'm running Conductive. That what makes my numbs to have 10% additional damage as a base. Normally numb has 4% additional damage, so this gives it 10, and then I'm stuck in numb effect on gear and candles as you've seen to scale this up. And the second one, for me, I'm running Rushed. You can run anything useful, like let's say you can go for Affliction or Daze, or you can go for Windwalk or Plague. Yeah, it's up to you. two birds with one stone is also great. Yeah, there's a lot of options, but for me, conductive. That's conductive for num stacking. For num effect stacking, you could go Gale, and then you would stack like projectile speed instead. It might be a thing that we will try next season. We'll see. Yeah, but I like the num stacking because nobody really played it, and it works. So yeah, the rest of the slates, you want 2 Fallen Starlights with +1 jump on the last mod there. Why on the last mod? It's because you pair it with when the spark sets Prairie ablaze, which copies the last mod from the adjacent slates. So there's +2 jumps from these 2 slates, and then again +2 jumps from the spark. That's +4 from slates that I mentioned in the beginning. Then blur effect for every 1% of life lost. Blur effect gives you defense and offense as well. Reaping cooldown on bottom. Yeah, just get anything useful on bottom. I went for reaping cooldown just to copy it with the spark. And on this, reaping cooldown on the bottom as well. If you get something else, I was just aiming for something useful really, so if I got additional damage against cursed enemies, I would have it there as well. So yeah, anything useful, just make the slate as useful as possible. You just want to get +1 skills somewhere, and yeah, you want to get +1 skills somewhere, you want to get numb effect somewhere, and you want to get the blur effect somewhere. Those would be the main 3, apart from the +1 jumps. So here I have numb effect and reap cooldown, and here this is just a filler slot really. I just took something for 2 slots that with useful mods. My plan for the future was to get rid of this and buy two moths, which are like little brothers of the spark, and copies, and those copy 1 mod from 1 adjacent slate, 1 last mod from 1 adjacent slate specified on the slate. So I would be copying probably the reaping cooldown, or I would try to get numb effect with something else, with like curse damage or something. Yeah, so that was my plan. Get into mods instead of this. Yeah. And for the, let's go for the hero traits now. I will leave the gear for last. Hero traits, go in with Dart Shot, Lethal Interval, and Malice Charge. With red memories, you get them to level 3, which, for example, the Lethal Interval gives you +2 jumps. On level 2 it gives you only +1, so swap into red memory here. Let me I had +1 jump candle before, and get in red memory here. Let me get rid of the +1 jump candle and get the +1 curse candle instead. So that was the swap here. And on the memories I'm focusing on attack block chance and spell block chance, that just to cap it or get it to as close to 100% as possible. So anything useful with attack or spell block chance, I got all 3 with evasion. I would rather have another block chance on there as well, or energy shield or critical strike damage. But yeah, those were the cheapest one, and I managed to snipe them for like 800 each. And then rolled them myself. So yeah, just stacking spell block and attack block here to cap myself up.
Still remember that fire.
Now for the gear and the stats. As you can see, I'm attack block capped, and I have 96% spell block chance, with only 30% damage block ratio. What this means in combination is that I take 30% less damage basically, and you can scale the block damage ratio through slates. You can get, I believe, 15% from slates, so that would put me to 45. Or you can get Kismets for your Pact Spirits, which would give you plus 30%, so that would put you to 60% less damage, 60% block ratio, but those kismets would rip you off of 30% attack block chance, so you would have to get 30% more attack block chance somewhere else, which you've seen on the hero memories. Like, there's room for improvements. So for example, tier 0 mod roll up to 30%, so I'm missing like 8% here, 10% here, and 14% here. So just rolling tier 0 mods on those memories would cut me off, basically.
There are no eternal thrones.
So that's the possible upgrade there.
Everlasting.
Would give me 30% less damage taken on top of the 30% I already have. As a no-brainer, right? But preparing for that costs something, and those kismets are not cheap either. So yeah, for the ice lenses, as I said, 10% critical strike chance, and scale in some critical strike damage, because while on your evil hard armor gives you 1% additional element damage per 3% critical strike damage. This stat is only scaled from your critical strike damage stat, basically. So yeah, as that for the uniques, evil hard armor, not the best corrupts, but I went with what I got. I corrupted everything myself. So you would want to get additional element damage. Yeah. Chaos Abyss, corrupted elemental anti-erosion resistance penetration. That's the best you can get there. On boots, you want to get corrupted the blur effect to get more blur from them. And the ring, yeah. And for the rares now where I scale the numb effect from, you can get up to 65% on your helmet. I'm not on top rolls because I was waiting to get the last mod to tier 0 as well and then roll the item, which I did not finish sadly, but yeah, you get the idea. Numb effect from here, rip duration, some critical strike damage. I mean, the mods on the items might not be the best possible you can get, but I just went with anything that I felt like could boost my character. If we check what I can get and like what else I can get here, I can get critical strike rating, for example, or affliction effect instead of the crit damage. But yeah, you know, I could get rid of the physical damage taken to cold and get more intelligence to get more damage, or I could get 13% block ratio on the helmet. Options, there are definitely other options you could went with. I went with these. So energy shield, physical damage taken to cold, some crit damage. Numb effect is the most important on this. Apart from the defenses, numb effect is what gives me the damage here. On the amulet, energy shield base just gives you a base energy shield which you can then scale with mods. Corruption curse, intelligence, aura effect has an important role here because we have 4 auras, so this helps us scale all 4. Sealed mana compensation. The sealed mana compensation is the thing that lets you actually reserve 4 auras, so that's an important role as well. And until I was able to get my like tier 0 mods on my ring and the belt for the resistances, I was running elemental resistances here instead of the barrier. But you want to get the barrier here, trust me. Like, barrier is like 20% more life basically. So yeah, That's for the amulet. For the belt, additional damage taken at low mana. That's additional damage, additional defensive layer. I went with defense. You can go for intelligence instead. I just wanted more defense because, yeah, damage is useless once you get to certain levels. Build duration, want to get it to tier 0 definitely. Elemental resistances and reap. And for the ring, double curse, frost touch and entangled pain. We are running triple curse setup. So that comes from here, from amulet and the ring, or all 3 curses covered from items. Intelligence, max energy shield, elemental and erosion penetration. Instead of intelligence you could go for more defense again, I believe, like evasion, let's say, or attack and spell block chance, and that would free you a slot on one of your memories, and you could put critical strike damage on your memories, for example. But intelligence is additional damage as well, so yeah, get it somewhere, you know, when you can. And on the wands, I went with blur effect, and the other one, that was the first one I bought. I did not bother with buying a better one, but blur effect is great. The additional damage Dreamcraft here, I was thinking of getting rid of it and actually put in Dreamcraft here, which would give me another like physical damage taken to cold damage. That would be the option that I would went for if I continued to play the character. And for the mods, +3 spell skills, +2 cold skills, reap, reap cooldown, base wield damage and affliction effect. Why +2 cold skills instead of intelligence? If we go to skills, we are running elemental resistance aura, and it has cold tech, so the +2 cold skills actually scales this aura as well. I have +2 cold skills on both of my wands, so this gives me, instead of +4, I'm getting +8 on the resistance aura, which gives me like another 1% plus some. So that's why I'm running +2 cold instead of intelligence on both wands. And the second one is the same, just base wield, affliction, reap, cold skills, spell skills and reap. So that's for the gear. That I believe that's everything. I can go through Pact Spirits as well. I'm running Poisoned Omen. That one gives you +1 curse. So if you do not have this pet and you have a different one, like, yeah, no, not everyone has that, right? So then you would simply, instead of running more with less here, you would run Variable Abuse if you don't have the +1 curse pet. So that's that. The next one is Abyss King for me. That gives me like reap cooldown. And the third one I'm using Fire Swordsman. That gives me another source of reap basically. If I would be swapping, I would probably not swap any, but yeah, you have to play with whatever you get. And for those who are not fortunate enough and do not have these yet, the Kismets and the Fates were added this season. I covered them in a different video covering Pact Spirits, so check that out. And you can change notes on your Pact Spirits, so that's what I'm doing on mine, because you simply want to get better notes. So I'm going for maximum reap duration. That gives you the maximum source of damage. So yeah, reap duration everywhere. That's for the Pact Spirits, and now let's just go quickly through a map. Do I have some deep space map left? Yeah. Let's go quickly. This one is max route with 4 compasses, the same strategy I was running pretty much the entire time. I would not run it on deep space. I would suggest you to run something else, but I just don't want to cover any strategies in this video. Okay, I'm not doing... you know, I can. Why not? It's the last video of the season. We can also just go through everything, right?
Need some time.
So this is what it looks when you don't have Statue of War.
Family.
You simply just keep blinking and everything dies. If you have the explode gloves, you can swap to explode gloves and things start popping. Like, just the sound actually makes the gloves better than the other ones, right?
I'll need some time. I need to rest.
As you can see, it's a deep space, as you can see it on the top left. It is level 90 zone. And you have so much evasion, and you have blur effect as well. So blur effect gives you a chance to avoid damage completely, while evasion gives you a chance to avoid attacks or spells. You can check how much chance you have in your stat page here. 58% chance to evade attacks and 47 spells.
It's your honor to be judged by a member of the Herman family. I need to rest. Your reign of evil ends here.
And that's it. So this is a deep space dream. Just starting the map costs around 30 or 40 FEs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure how much do the maps cost now. 27 plus some for the compasses, plus some for the netherrealm resonances, so yeah, around 35 FEs to run the map.
The chariot.
I'm not doing this, just let's go through the map. So as you can see, everything just pops. If I go to my original gloves, everything will die as well. It just does not have the pop sound, which, yeah, it is just more fun, at least to me, to see the popping of monsters, or hear the popping of monsters.
I need to rest.
And this, at this stage of the build, without the aura supports and things, is around 15 or 17 trillion DPS.
Desire brings destruction, yet deeper desires hide within to gain more.
So yeah, after you get to above like 10 trillion, I would say that is enough to clear everything, and you can just focus on speed or defenses. That would be my suggestion to everyone still playing. Just once you get above 10 trillion DPS, just focus on speed to farm faster, or focus on defenses to actually farm easier, because you don't have to care about ground effects and anything. Okay. What am I missing to the Void Pirate?
will give you a grand burial at sea.
I have all three. Nice. Okay, let's do the pirate. That would be the last boss, and we'll call it the season.
Take a good whiff of the stench and the corruption of I will give you a grand burial at sea.
I pay with my blood.
I can't survive everything. That was expected.
Never surrender to the evil.
But as long as you can complete the boss encounter, right? Carino 2 is not a tanky character, at least if you don't build it to be tanky. And on softcore there's no reason to build the character tanky, you can just die 6 times in the map. When you are still able to clear it, it doesn't really matter. And that's it. If anyone wants a decent memory here, and yeah, if you guys are still playing, enjoy the rest of the season. It was a blast for me. I hope you liked the videos we made this season, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.